They're
There we
connected.
go.
There they are.
Hey,
Damon,
Let's go.
hello, man.
How are you?
It looks like we got Tyler connecting too.
I think so.
I didn't think we were
Awesome.
getting Tyler.
Yeah, we were told we were only getting you, Damon. So pleasantly surprised to get both you guys.
Yeah, no, I know his work schedule's been a little crazy, as is mine. So it's kind of just a matter of seeing who we can get at what times.
That's
So
cool,
yeah,
man. Well, we very much appreciate you guys taking the time.
oh, absolutely. No, it's cool. I love doing this kind of stuff, and so does he. So it's like anytime I can not do my regular job,
Oh, I can relate to that. I'm sure a
that's
lot
a
of people
plus.
can.
So, Damon, I talked to you like about a year ago, I think now, and I chuckled because we were both wearing Beartooth shirts when we got on the call. So I thought I'm going to wear my August Burns red this time, and I'm going to see if you know.
No, I got Highly Suspect.
Oh, that's a great band.
Yeah, they're so good. Oh, hey, look at that.
There he
Hello?
is. Welcome, Tyler. Thank you for coming, man. Thank you guys both for taking the time.
Thank you for having us. Always exciting to do these things.
Yeah, we were just you guys don't have to. We were just talking about a bunch of stuff, but before you guys came on, we were talking about touring bands and how we talked to so many touring bands and it's such a hustle for you guys. People don't realize it's a grind.
Mhm.
But we were also talking about playlists and stuff, and just actually before you guys came on, we were talking about listening to music outside of metal and hard rock, and how a lot of the bands that kind of define themselves and have a style that's a little unique, it's largely probably because of that. They're not just listening to what's popular in their own genre.
Oh, absolutely. It's I think it took a while for me to figure this out, at least from the songwriting aspect, where it's like, for the most part, we're pretty simple creatures. It's like kind of monkey see, monkey do sometimes. So it's like if you grow up and you're listening to Slipknot and Korn and all that stuff, and the first thing that you go to try to write is probably going to sound like that because that's all you are taking in. But it's like if you can diversify your palette a little bit, and I'm not saying that you have to. It's just a matter of some people, like, they need the variety. But then I'm sure people in your life that it's like it's chicken fingers or bust. That's it. They're just like, that's it. That's all I like. Just give it to me. But they're going to give you, if they know how to make it, they're going to make you the best chicken finger you'll ever have. So it's different strokes for everybody, but
I like that analogy.
Yeah, I was just telling Dustin. Have you guys heard of Jelly Roll?
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I like that new album he put out. I'm just in love with it, and I just love how he blends so many genres together, and comes out with that, and it's so authentic too.
Oh, absolutely. And people don't even, I guess most people don't realize this. I mean, kind of like anything, he's been doing it for a while.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's come up to, like, we had a venue in Lansing called The Loft and Max Bar. And this dude, he'd probably been coming up there since 2011, 2012, selling out
Wow.
200 cap room, selling out 350, still at The Loft. Like he was playing with more of like the Juggalo crowd too. So like he
Right,
could come up
right.
there with like Twisted and ICP. And now it's like he's starting to cross, like, obviously you see like the country rock crossovers, the pop country crossover stuff. Like,
Mhm.
and again, kudos to his the people that market his music, because it's definitely, I mean, it's smart, because you think about, I don't know if anybody else has ever thought about this, because you guys talked about playlisting. It's, you think about like Rap Caviar or some of these big pop and rock playlist, like the pop playlists on Spotify, they have 40 spots to resemble the top 40. It's hard to compete against like Travis Scott or Beyonce or Lady Gaga or any of these like enormous artists, even by
Weekend.
the week. Exactly. Like Drake, like,
Yeah.
even country has a hard time competing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go to some of the bigger rock playlists, you see, oh, they have 200 spots, they have 300 spots, or they have 150. And it's like, if you're a huge artist, instead of competing for 40 on top 40, but you can get 5 or 6 of the top rock lists that are they still have multi-million saves and everything else. You're accessing a whole different audience without having to fight against the super big machine. I mean, they're still a part of the big machine, but
Yeah,
you know,
you can climb
it's just
up.
simple numbers by that point, and then you can elevate yourself to where you can now put up a chance, I guess, you know, when it comes to some of these other awards, some of these more like traditional style metrics. So
That's
I
the
guess
world today too.
kudos to them, man.
Yeah. You got me. I hung up on something you said earlier about the juggalos because I just saw this thing with ICP. It was like this retro. They literally put a commercial out. I have so much respect for those guys because they kind of have this whole thing that's all them, and they were totally independent. I watched this commercial they put on MTV because they're like, you're not going to see us on MTV, but they did a commercial for Twisted back in the day, and I was just like, that's how much money that they had. They couldn't get on MTV, so they just bought airspace on MTV.
Yeah.
But
they're an ecosystem unto themselves as far as, you know, them owning their masters, them printing and retaining the rights to their own likeness and merchandise. They have a bus company. They have their own rental. Like they own everything, so everything comes back to them. And it's, you know, hey, it's an enviable position to be in, but it's also one you have to have the acumen to be able to do it, to notice the details and the things and the value. You have to know the value in yourself to be able to fight, because there's always going to be somebody that's like, no, man, I can do this better than blah. And they were like, we're good.
yeah,
We'd rather take the whole thing than you promise us the world and we only get 7% in perpetuity. You know what I mean? So
that Juggalo thing too. I saw Tech Nine saying, giving ICP props. He's like, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the Juggalos and the ICP crowd and stuff. It's like they've put on a lot of people too.
oh, absolutely. And you see, I mean, for a while, if you've seen like the gathering of the Juggalos and their lineups, you'll see anybody from fucking Lorna Shore and Amir to Ice Cube to
Yeah.
Mushroom Head to whoever, because they don't care. They just realize, oh, you guys need a fan base. You guys want an audience. You want new people in your corner. Well, we have the most diehard, honestly, and I know a lot of Juggalos. It is crazy. It's fanatic. It is something I honestly just can't describe because I'm not really into that, but I can feel it because I mean, it's the same way with us for like rock metal or just heavy music. Like you have that just undeniable feeling, but for them, it's like a whole, it's a whole different thing, man.
So shifting gears, man. Sorry, not to get off the. You guys are from Michigan. But talk a little bit about your history and the history of the band, how you guys got together. Go back as far as you want.
Oh man, going just to the beginning. It's like around 08 or 09. Myself and our other guitar player, Mike, we've played in bands since, it's like 2005, 2006. So we've been there for a little while, rocking with each other. Really kind of, again, like I said, grew up in Michigan with a very kind of dynamic music scene. Like it was, very punk dominated, very hardcore dominated, EDM, obviously we're one of the birthplaces of, techno music. So it's like, we have a crazy scene down in Detroit, Grand Rapids, and we still have the rock scene. You have Detroit Rock City, you still have soul and Motown and all of that stuff. Like what you were saying in the beginning of your conversation of having an eclectic palette. It's like us in the Midwest, we have the seasons. So we have so many, we need the sounds. We need the vibe. You need the summertime vibe. You need that top down. I'm blasting something, either just nasty hip hop or something nasty metal. But then when it gets to the winter, you want something that's kind of somber. You want something that speaks to your soul a little bit more. And it's like, we've had we thought at the time was a detriment. But now when you look back at it in hindsight, it's like you're playing with so many different artists, from acoustic artists to death metal to hardcore to punk to whatever, where it's like, in order for you to stand out, you have to be different. You have to do something that's different from your counterparts. And I think throughout the years, like we finally have like assembled the pieces to where we can do that. It's like you have myself and my background, our drummer Ryan, we met on the internet over COVID because, you know, hey, he does pop covers. He'll do anything where it's like, if it sounds good, let me rock it out, and it fit with our ethos. The same thing with Tyler. Tyler was like, he was playing in bands with us for a while. Our singer left, and we kind of suckered him into playing. We were just like, hey, we got some shows on tour, man. You want to do it? He's like, I've never toured. And we're like, we don't care. Because we also didn't really have another choice anyway. So I guess singer by default. Sorry, Tyler. But, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. See? Proud.
Yep, that did happen. And my first experience of touring, the van broke down.
Hey.
We were stranded for 8 hours. So yeah. I don't know why I decided to do anything after that.
Which is crazy because I don't know, Tyler, I guess this is something that Tyler probably didn't know. So the guy, do you know a guy named Travis Porter by any chance, Tyler?
No.
Okay. Well, Travis Porter, and this is just for everybody, he is a promoter in Mansfield, Ohio. So you know where this is going. We played a festival called Incarceration not too long ago. And the first show that Tyler played with us out of state was in Mansfield to like 7 people. Of those 7 people, there were like 5 that were actually like singing the words along with us, which was crazy. But I saw Travis at Inc. and he got with us after we were done playing. He's like, bro, do you remember when? I was like, I do. He's like, do you even know who I am? I was like, yes, trust me. Because he's the one that like really, really helped put Knock Loose onto the map. Like he was their booking dude for a while. But it was kind of crazy that we just kind of had like that full circle moment. So
I did.
So he was one of the people in the crowd at that show.
Yep.
Oh, dope.
Yep. He booked Tyler's first out of state show in Mansfield, but then I had a chance to reconnect with him when we played Inc. a couple weeks ago. After he watched us play on a stage. Like I think we probably played in front of about 3,000 people. So it's like
That's cool.
it's a crazy thing to think about sometimes.
Small world.
It is.
You guys have really been gaining quite a bit of momentum just even the last few years, haven't you?
Absolutely. It's kind of like honestly like a roller coaster. I mean, when we put out our last record, it was like the trajectory really started to do this. We were touring a lot, like just hopping on any show and any possibility that we could, and it was paying off dividends. COVID happened and kind of reset our timeline a little bit. But at the same time, again, kind of hindsight looking back at it, I'm glad that even though we didn't necessarily know what was going to happen with the band, because I mean, I'd be lying if I said, man, there were days when you wake up and you're like, nothing's really going on, or you don't think anything's going on, but you still are doing the work. You're still writing songs. You're still manufacturing strategy and figuring stuff out. And again, this is kudos to just everybody in our team, everybody, including you guys, because I mean, you still had to do the work to get to where you're at right now for us to even have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of, even though you might not think something is not happening, it's all building up to something. And that kind of 2.5-year layoff allowed us to reassess a lot of our weaknesses, maybe some stuff that we were doing wrong or weren't maximizing, being as brutally honest as we could. And again, we fought a lot. We yelled at each other. We were yelling. There were times where it got real tense, but that's kind of the key, where it's like that kind of stuff, it doesn't break us. We're brothers. We're going to argue. We're going to be pissed. We're going to be uncomfortable. But because of that, we are all able to grow into whatever is happening right now. And it's like, it's kind of an amazing feeling, really. It feels like a second or third act in some senses.
That's a cool attitude to have. I was watching Metallica recently, and it's like Kirk and James and Lars have been, I mean, that's like a 30, 40 year marriage with more than one person. You know, that's a lot of, like, there's a lot of work going into just that relationship with your bandmates, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I guess the thing where some people, they think about like, oh, when you see the bands that do have that long chemistry where they can coexist, it's like people think like, oh, they must be best friends. They must be hanging out every day. And it's like, nah, man, you're living your life, but you understand that the friendship that you do have or the connection that you do have, it's like you have to have your own thing going on. You have to be able to come home and retreat kind of to your own little corner for a little while. But then when you get back together, you know exactly what it is. You know what you're going to be getting from the other person or the other people involved. And that's the thing that keeps everything on track, is still retraining kind of like the one track mind, but being able to come back, decompress a little bit, still get what you need to get done because you have that responsibility to yourself and to the others. But yeah, again, kind of to long-windedly answer the other question, there's been quite a bit of movement, but it's not, I don't want to say it's surprising, because I've seen what Tyler's done. I've seen what Mike has done. I've seen what Ryan has done. I see what Oliver and the rest of our management and our label have done. And honestly, I would be more surprised if stuff wasn't happening because of all the work that everybody's put in and all the hours, all of the, the hard days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this album. I think I told you last year when I talked to you, Damon, I hadn't heard of you guys up until probably a week before we talked, and I was an instant fan. I went back and I actually purchased your previous album, and I've been rocking that for the last year, and that Sinner EP was so good. So I'm super stoked for this one coming out here in September. Was it the 29th?
29th, yep.
And the one thing that did surprise me, though, it looks like you guys are putting 3 of the songs from the Sinner EP on this album.
Correct.
What was the reasoning behind that?
So we'll give you a little insight of our thought process at first. The thought process was we wrote, I think we had like maybe 12 or 13. No, it's probably about like 10 songs. And it was just, at that point, it was just like, we just want to release singles. That's all we really want to do right now. Like, we don't have any intentions of putting out an album at the moment, because we still were just looking for, a new home after leaving Sharptone in like the end of 2020. So it was just one of those things where it's like, we're just kind of going to do what we want to do instead of do what the industry standard is, obviously. I know like the industry is gearing towards or going towards more of the single route now, but EPs and CD are, LPs are still a thing, and they always will be. So our thought process was, if once we got to the point where we found a new home, found a new place, that could be something we could discuss with them and just kind of see what the what we'd like to do, like what's the goal for the band, what's the goal for the label. And it just kind of became one of those things where like we wrote more and more songs. I think we had like 15 or 16 at the time, and we were like, you know what, we want to kind of do like a few different EPs maybe, and then just kind of have that combine and be like an album, and then maybe throw a couple more songs on there just to give it the feel of like you haven't listened to every single song, So it's just one of those things where we were like, that would be like a really cool concept. But then, we already had that plan, I guess, in place. But then we were like, we had 12 songs that we really liked, and we were like, you know what, we're going to do this. So 13 songs. I should rephrase that, because one of those songs did not make it on the album, and there is a reason for that. Yeah, we had 12 songs that we just were really proud of, and we're like, we would love for this to be an album, but we didn't want to like take away from other songs that didn't quite make it on this album at this time around. And it it made sense. It made sense to have those songs on because they are part of the story that we were trying to build from day one. And the whole point of Omen is essentially like, which I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the track listing as well. Us putting the title track as number one. You know, a lot of people might be like, "What? Why are you doing that?" Well, love to tell you. The main reason for that is because all of these songs are the experiences, the things that we have gone through, that our friends have gone through, our family has gone through, and we wanted to put that into, into a song form. So, this is kind of one of those things where, I guess I can explain for like the Echoes. Echoes didn't make it onto the album, and the reason for that is because if you listen to the lyrics, it's basically just like, you're walking through the rubbish. You're walking through, just like, the rubble. I don't know why I said rubbish. Maybe because we were in Europe,
Same thing.
for a minute there. Yeah, that's same thing. But it was just like picturing when we wrote that song specifically. It was just going through, like, it's like you're walking through all the wreckage. You're walking through, basically like it could be a post apocalyptic, like, it's just meant to like give you that image of you're basically you're a walking like human being that's gone through all of these things, and it's like you're the only person that can really see what you've gone through, right? But the point of that song was like you're walking through, it's like anybody that were to walk down that path, you'd see like, okay, wow, just it's kind of like opening your eyes. So the whole idea of why it's left off the album is because now it's like the whole point of Omen is everything. It's kind of like with COVID, we knew that it was going to be a very rough time. We knew that it was going to be just something that, none of us could ever prepare for. So the fact that we were able to write an album and have all the lyrics be something not only like we relate to, but hopefully everybody else can relate to in some way, shape, or form. And it's just, you just have that bad feeling that something bad, like something's coming, and you don't really know what it is. Like, you can brace yourself or try to prepare yourself as much as you can, but the truth is you're not going to be able to, like, we dealt with loss, loss of family members, loss of jobs, loss of just, breakups, divorces, like all of these things that, us humans go through, and we just put that into an album. And it's just like really cool to see everything that we went through in the last few years finally have, like, not necessarily an ending, but just kind of have, it's just out there in the world now. And it's kind of like a very therapeutic thing for myself personally. But I know with talking with Damon too, and Mike and Ryan, it's personal to them too, because it's very surreal that we're releasing an album again. Especially because I had no idea what we were going to be doing after, during COVID. Like Damon said, I mean, it truly felt like we put all of our eggs in a basket, and, there was a hole in it, and, you didn't really know that. So when you go back to look, there's nothing there, and you're like, everything that you worked for just gone. And, it's just really cool seeing all of our hard work over the time. I mean, that was a conversation Damon and I had too, about a year ago. Just kind of like, hey man, like, things are going to start getting busy. You gotta, like, we got to get in shape. We got to be in the right mindset. Got to do this. And it took me a long time to realize, like, got to put myself first, got to put, like, myself first before, like, you guys or everybody can get the most authentic version of us. And I think genuinely, this is like, one of the coolest things. So
are you guys touring or doing any shows in the US this year?
Yep.
Yes.
We'll be doing, so when we get back, we're heading out for Being as an Ocean tour in literally like 2 weeks. We get back mid-September. We have some small scattered stuff in the Midwest leading up to our album release shows in October on the 6th and the 7th, respectively. So October 6th, we're playing in Detroit at the Sanctuary. October 7th, we have a new hometown venue called Gray Wall Hall in Lansing that we're going to do there. That's going to be like one of the first like metal shows that they put on. Our friends Scotty and Irving, like those dudes have been rocking with us since the beginning of time. So it's kind of a cool little coronation to be able to break in that venue with, you know, what we do. And then after that, we are planning on doing more stuff in the States. So it's all getting figured out right now. But once we know something, then everybody else will know, because I know I've gotten quite a few messages from people that are like, hey, it's sick that you guys, you know, keep going back overseas and doing all this stuff. But what about us?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey,
I want to see you live.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. But that's the thing, man. It's just we're going where people want to see us right now. And we've been fortunate enough to where our label is from Germany. So, you know, they want to reestablish us back over, you know, in a market that loves to have us. And when we do that, like I said, coming back and being able to do like Incarceration, being able to do a hometown festival and upheaval and seeing like that kind of support, it's like, hey, trust me, when we do get back and are able to put together like a full US run, like nobody's going to be disappointed. So,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I noticed the tour in Europe, and most of the shows, well, I shouldn't say most, but over half of the shows were in Germany. And I was wondering, how well do you guys speak German? Are you learning? Are you?
No, not even in this. I'm not even, honestly.
Dankeschön.
Yeah, Dankeschön.
German is the most beautiful language. I'm joking.
I got my I just passed like a 200-day streak on Duolingo learning German, but I'd be too embarrassed to even try to speak it here. So
yeah, I went to
that's sweet.
I went to Europe a while ago, and I don't remember any of the German that I learned.
No, but that's cool. You guys get to see a lot of Germany. You get to see some other surrounding countries and stuff, and that's neat. You can go back.
I absolutely love Germany. Yeah, I mean Europe is definitely like, you know, it's our home away from home, hypothetically speaking. Like we've made a lot of friends over the years. Just made a lot more friends the last time we just went. So a lot of them are coming out to these shows too, and it's exciting because it gives us just, you know, just a sense of comfort to be able to go over there and yeah, like I really don't think people realize how beautiful music is, because we don't even have to speak the same language.
Sure.
Or you don't even have to really understand us to know like that we're there for the same reason. It's for the love of music, and it's just like, if you guys haven't, if anybody hasn't been there, like you have to go. I mean, it is especially Germany. Like Germany for live music is just unreal. You could have 10 people show up and they make you feel on top of the world. Like they'll buy all of your merch. They will buy you drinks, and they will, you know, basically be like, hey, you know, if you guys want to go out, like we'll buy you, you know, like they're very hospitable, and just, it's a really, really cool country, and definitely excited to go back and play some more places there.
Do you guys have any like favorite venues or cities in Germany?
Ooh, yeah. Backstage in Munich is one of my favorites.
The best,
honestly, because the venue is sick. I'm always a catering person too, so it's like if my first impression of you is you bring out Thanksgiving dinner for for everybody for the tour, I'm all about it. So
that's cool.
There, yeah, I mean, I'd have to go through the list, but there's hasn't been too many places that we've played there where I've been like, ugh. And even like some of the like we did play a Nazi bar in Berlin the first time.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was a little weird. But even then, it's like the people that came were still, they had fun. The PA was shot. We
What
slept
PA?
over. Exactly. Yeah.
I've had so many musicians tell me stories too about like people don't realize that you have to be careful like with the catering thing. It's like you're probably grateful to like just have some food and stuff, because I've had guys talk about how, you know, they're like, oh, we're flying over here and we're eating like steak dinners, and then we realize like the label's charging us for this stuff, you know.
Oh no, that ain't happening that ain't happening over here. We would have known about that by now. But thankfully,
Yeah.
you know, I have heard that where yes, it's like, you know, more backroom deals or something like, you know, you're trying to take care of this and you're giving the illusion to the artist that, you know, this is what is happening. But thankfully, at least we don't live in that universe where you have those kind of like hidden agendas. It's just a matter of, you know, they in some ways see more of the value. Like it's not so much of like a capitalist thing of like, what's the way that we can just draw the most money out of this fruit?
Mm-hmm.
Like even something as simple as just, you know, when the artist comes in, having a clean dressing room, you know, a nice hot meal, waters, towels, just something that makes them comfortable is going to allow them to not, you know, perform better, put on a great show for everybody, draw in more of an audience, draw in more of a crowd. Everybody's just going to have a good time. And it's like, you know, when you're stuck getting Little Caesars pizza every day and no one gives a shit about you, it's like, obviously you're still there to do a job, but it's like, you know, what are you really here for? And it's like the business of music can still be conducted in a more humane and, you know, I guess nice way. But, you know, some people don't see that point of view. So you just kind of have to roll with it.
We were just talking too, actually, about before you guys came on about labels. And, you know, I think the examples I were giving are probably like older examples. It's a different time, but also what we were talking about is a lot of the smaller labels too, when they sign a band like you guys, the label genuinely likes your music and wants to, you know, elevate you guys. Whereas to your point, you know, the capitalist thing back in the day was just like, how much can we squeeze out of these guys?
Oh, absolutely. And I think hopefully a lot of that old school like label mindset is starting to kind of go out the window because of people having the access to social media, having the access to all the tools and things that before were off limits or people didn't know about. But now it's like, hey, that glass has been shattered, that, you know, fourth wall has been broken. Labels do exist and can exist for the right reasons because again, not everyone is going to have, you know, deep pockets. Not everybody's going to have the means to be able to, you know, go viral or do that. Like, you know, I will say like people that do that kind of stuff, like I know people talk bad about it and I have in the past too, but it's like for somebody to be able to be personable, to be able to connect, to have a face and a voice and a skill set to do something just on their phone and resonate the way that it has or can with people is a talent, is a skill that not everyone has, especially people in band. People in bands are weird, man. we are weird motherfuckers. Like, sorry to curse, but it's like part of the reason why we play music is because we are weird and because it's a way for us to kind of express how we really are feeling, you know. And almost, I want to say like hide behind it, but it's like for a while it was like, yes, you know, we're a group, we're a collective, we're this, and we can go up there as a united front instead of being an individual. But again, kind of to digress and go back to more of the label side, there's always a place for them, but labels have to adjust and they have to adapt with how the times are going on. And it's like some of these smaller ones do really have their finger on the pulse because it's like you're embracing the Gen Z stuff, you're embracing TikTok, you're embracing the changes in the world and adapting your contracts or adapting the way that you do business to it so that you can, and in some ways, capitalize on the best opportunities a band might have instead of, you know, hey, oh, you put out your 2 singles and your album and then it flopped and everyone's stuck with, you know, wondering what the hell just happened. It's like, if you're still sticking with that, good luck because you're not going to get very far in this day and age.
Yeah, music trends change so fast too. We talked to a lot of, I mean, I talked to a lot of older bands that were like big in the 80s and stuff. And they're like, yeah, then grunge hit and it ruined our careers, you know? And it's like trends are fickle too. So
Hmm. And you have to adapt. The bands that are able to do it, or sometimes again, you don't have to go with what's popular, but if you double down and kind of go back to that whole thing of like, if you're gonna make the best chicken fingers, you gotta remind me why you were that dude or that band or that person in the first place. And, go even harder into it, or, adapt some of the modern stuff into a sound or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, man, it's survival of the fittest. It's who's going to adapt, who's going to change. Somebody's going to say no where another person says yes.
if you're a good live band too, I think you just get out there and play. People, you got stuff on streaming. People are going to listen to, people, you impress people in a live environment. It may take a little longer, but you'll build a following.
Oh,
That's
you're not
kinda
wrong
how-
about that.
Yeah, that's kind of how like our band, I guess, progressed. Like I don't think we've ever really been an internet band, which has its perks and has its cons for sure. You post things and then people are like, "Wow, I didn't even know that you were here." And it's like, yeah, well, we posted like everywhere, but algorithms, of course. So like we've had issues with those, but I think that's why we especially like. Ever since I joined the band, we have played more in Europe than we have in America. And that is because of us playing over there and people, we went over there. That was like my first official tour, 2017. And it solidified like, okay, well, we would love to come back here. And we did. We went back there into 2018 for 2 months. Like hit 25 or 26 countries or something like that. Like what is wrong with us? But also, heck yeah, like we got to go to places that I guarantee 99% of bands probably won't ever go to, and it's just like we just kept getting those those fans, and that's because we just kept playing live. And I think that's why we kind of like we put in so much work on that, and that's why it was like really tough for us. It's because we invested more into the live shows than we did on social media. So during COVID, it was like we had to start playing catch up, like a lot of bands, I'm sure. We had to play catch up. So I would say like for us, we are definitely seeing the benefits of both now, which is great. We like just the amount of people that know who we are. I mean, Rhea Ripley, for example, like absolutely insane, just one of the coolest wrestlers in today's age, and just randomly posted our song, and then we sent her merch and she posted it again. Like that stuff is crazy to me. I mean, like crazy to us. Like what in the world? That's insane that I would have never guessed that these people would know who we are, but they do. And I think that's just like really cool.
Music's powerful.
Yep, absolutely. So speaking of the power of music, I did kind of want to ask this question and was hoping for a way in. That Jason Aldean video has been getting a lot of stuff, a lot of attention, good and bad. And I did notice that you guys responded on your own social media about that. I'd love to just kind of hear your thoughts on that, because I find it interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, what we did, honestly, because Twitter, we figured out, and this is, I guess, just by design of how and why people use it. It's just trolling. It's, it's a meme culture. It's little quips. It's these little barbs that you can kind of get off on the internet without people going crazy.
It's arguing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't just use that platform as like a more like informative or, trying to promote things. Like you can, but Twitter really is kind of like a wild, wild west of just like active information real time. And yeah, it's literally, it's just arguments, it's shit posting, it's this, and
Dave
we do our
Dave Chappelle called Twitter the world's bathroom wall.
exactly. People, you see
Oh.
phone numbers up there, you'd see whatever, and it's like, I mean, we've done a lot of different things of just like, the Jason Aldean thing, or, Metallica when they were crying about something. It's like we switched our name for a little while and it messed people up because they were like, why did you put that? But to go back to what you're saying about like the Jason Aldean thing, it's like, this is maybe me just being cynical, but I can only look at this from like a marketing standpoint of like, I feel like some of this is manufactured because he knows that there is a demo, there is an audience that, yes, when it comes to like guns or gun control, the freedom from the government, there's always going to be those people that it's like the moment that you even think about infringing onto that, their right to have a firearm or their right to carry or to protect themselves, that it's game over. It's like you're not going to be able to argue against that rhetoric.
Mhm.
And I think that is where I want to say that's where the primary message comes from. But there are a lot of other things that come along with it, like the setting, the things that happened in some of those settings, some of the small towns across the United States that have had these enormous travesties, that the song, the lyrics, and kind of conventional wisdom has not determined that like, hey, both of these go together, because you've seen these things happen. You've seen Sandy Hook happen. You've seen other tragedies happen where it's like, what's that rhetoric? It's like, the only thing that's like worse than a good guy with a gun is a bad guy with a gun. But it's like, it always seems like wherever there's a bad guy, the good guy's never there to actually show up and be like, some superhero, boom, 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 take them down. It's like, that usually is not the case, even though that's what you all keep saying is going to happen every single time. Is it insensitive to, some of the people that have gone through this? It can be, absolutely. I'm also not going to say that they wrote it specifically trying to start it, piss these people off, or they did it to be purposely insensitive. It's just a matter of like, guns are always going to be a hot topic in this country as long as they are mostly legal-ish. They're, my personal view on them is like, I understand why guns exist, but I still have a hard time with looking across the world and seeing places that either guns are fully illegal or they don't have the types of like crimes or violent mass shootings or things that we have, and just go, are we really doing it right? Are we really, and granted, yes, we are a bigger power than some of these places. And you never want the government to fully be able to kind of like exert their force onto you in some ways. But again, I feel like there's just some kind of middle ground that we're not reaching, because you almost kind of get more out of having that divide, having that you either are this or you're this. There's no gray area. It's the same thing with the Democrat Republican stuff. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but the way that people promote, race relationships in the United States, like if you're looking on television, yes, there are places, people and things that are always going to be affected by that. But I don't want to say it is a problem, but the way that it's shown in popular media is like, if I walk down the street, I'm just going to get blasted by a cop, or there's going to be this, scared white lady that like she'll see me walking across the street and is just going to call for help. Like it's not like that. There are still issues, just like I said with the gun stuff. There are still things, but the way that it's promoted and being like kind of hyper sensationalized, I don't think does well for, I don't know, I would say like more of a community mind or a willingness to be able to kind of look at some of the deeper topics. And like I said, this is all to go back to the Jason Aldean thing. It's like, part of me just believes that it's marketing. I feel like you intentionally wrote this thing for this specific subset of people in this specific part of America, and then you blew it up because you knew, okay, let's get people talking. let's
Yeah.
let's
I had
get
the
let's
same
get
feeling, Damon. It's when I first heard about it and saw the video, I'm like, okay, I grew up in a small town, in Wisconsin. I don't think I would have thought much of that video. Like, okay, it's just another country song, and now that I've lived in the Twin Cities for the last, 6 years, I just see things a little differently, living in a city now. And it's like, maybe you didn't intend that, but maybe it was insensitive for you to do it the way you did, And I'm like, this has to be a marketing thing because it's just the reaction that people got out of it. It's just insane.
You know what I would liken it to, because I think you're right. I used to work in marketing and with PR people and stuff like that. And you remember when Dave Chappelle did his thing and like there was a bunch of trans people that were upset about it. It's the same dynamic. I feel like you get people talking. There's no such earned media, they call it. Like there's no such thing as bad press.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, not to liken it to the Chappelle thing too much, because looking into that and seeing like, the history that Dave has had with, the gay community or the trans community over the years. And one of the things that I kind of took away from it, that maybe Jason Aldean, maybe his camp are on this tip, where it's like Dave Chappelle, for one of those specials, for a few of them, it's like he pokes fun at the community because he realizes, hey, just because you're championing this movement, championing other people's gender fluidity, their sexuality, doesn't mean that you don't have bad eggs in your community or as a part. Like, not every gay person is a good person. Not every Black person is a good person. Like, that's the thing that people need to kind of keep in mind. So if we're following that kind of same line of rhetoric with Jason Aldean, which I'm sorry, I don't know if I can give them this much credit, maybe. But maybe he does have a stronger, maybe he does have a stronger feeling, or I guess calling, with the gun epidemic in America, especially within country music, within pop country, with the Americana stuff, where it's like, maybe it is getting out of hand. So it's like, you put out a song like this that's going to inflame that conversation so that, I don't know, it elevates your platform. It elevates people to speak on that platform because you made it an issue. But again, to me, it's like, I just think they looked at it and went, bare bones, just brass taxes. This is going to work. This could be some of the backlash. Is it going to, make its way into public conscience where it actually can affect some type of, law or lawmaker or a person in power? That's the apathetic side of me coming out. I'm going to apologize about that, but I'm going to say no.
The other side of it too that I thought was interesting is people were trying to attribute all these like coded messages to it, and someone made the analogy. It's like, you sound like the people in the 80s who said that like if you play Ozzy backwards, there's satanic messages. Like there's people are that crazy now that they're like, this is a secret message in this, or some.
Oh yeah, and I again, nowadays too, it's conspiracy stuff and other things. You can find it at every corner of the internet. You can talk to people and you can find anything to validate what you believe.
Totally.
At any point. And yeah, just like the people that's like, oh, spin Ozzy backwards, and people, you could find 9 people that are like, guns aren't a problem, but then you're going to stumble across a forum somewhere on Reddit or Facebook, and it's going to have like 28,000 people that are like, guns should be illegal. And you're like, yes, let's go. Or the opposite way, where it's like, it's that type of information or type of misinformation is also accessible. And it's like, it's really, really hard to discern what is true rhetoric, what should be national discourse, or what is just somebody effectively shitposting in a song, making it and, turning it into, the 15 minutes of the week or whatever it is, your 15 minutes of fame.
Everybody.
Well, I liked your response on Twitter, just posting your own video like that. That was that's pretty good.
Wait, what did you do? What did he do?
They posted one of their own songs on Twitter in response to that.
Oh, okay.
Hey, and at the end of the day, it's, you see a wave and you see people do stuff, and it's like, it's not that serious for us. Where again, Twitter is like kind of like the more shit posty side of us, where like, we'll talk and talk back to people, or somebody says something weird to you, and it's like, oh, we're gonna respond to you. like like on some other platforms, you might not get those responses because the algorithm doesn't care about that. But on Twitter, it's like you could post 50 times in a day, and it's not going to suppress what you're doing unless you put something super offensive or goes against their guidelines out there. It's like if you have some wit and can be quick with your fingers sometimes, maybe not too quick, because people will hold stuff against you. But
yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about Twitter. I always thought is it's kind of a meritocracy. Like a janitor can tweet something clever and ratio like the president or a famous actor or something.
Absolutely, it's equal opportunity. And now, minus the like buying the check mark stuff, I still don't understand what's going on with that. But
yeah,
people need to get over them too. Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know how much time we have with you guys, but I did want to just ask, because typically when I talking to a band or something about a upcoming album, I like to get into some of the deeper tracks, non-single tracks, and I was just wondering, could you guys pick one of your songs that hasn't been released yet and just give us a little inside scoop as the the background of the song, or something like that? Like to hear something that we haven't heard about yet.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll let Tyler. You can go first with this one.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute,
pal. There we go.
There we go. Yep. Sorry, I'm having camera issues. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Should we do the next song, Damon? Should we do the next song?
I mean, you can pick one. I can pick one. We can be on the same page with one.
Two exclusives here. That'd be fun.
You said what? Sorry.
I said let's do two exclusives here. That'd be fun.
Okay. So I guess we can do the next one. So won't say the name of it yet.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Right? Can we? I mean, because the track lists are out. I just don't know. No, I don't know.
Yeah. It hasn't been released, so it counts.
No, I'm just saying. Like, can I? Like, okay, never mind. So
yeah.
Holy.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
yeah, Holy is a song that honestly I think it might be my personal favorite of the album, because it has I guess more so just like for like deeper meaning and all of that. But so Holy was written during a time where Damon and I in our past as well, but like everybody, we've dealt with relationship issues. We've dealt with breakups, heartbreak, all that stuff. And I went through a breakup in 2021 in November. This girl that I was dating for like 3.5 years. I talked to Damon multiple times about, just how I was feeling about that, about that whole situation. And her and I, we still kept in touch, and we were still friends. And then we just kind of stopped talking for a little bit. And it was just one of those songs that just kind of came, I think, naturally. And Damon kind of started it off. A good amount of the song was written by him, just because of like his experiences with his past relationships, and then just what I was going through. It's kind of, I don't want to say like it's an apology, but it's more of just like, just kind of being accountable, holding yourself accountable, and realizing like, you might have been the reason why you were like holding somebody back. You were the reason why, like I guess like maybe that the relationship isn't going anymore because like one of the first lyrics is like you thought I was holy. And it's, that's more so a metaphor just for anybody, like, don't want that to be I guess misconstrued, but yeah, it's more of just like a metaphor, like, you saw the world in me, you saw the good in me, and it's like I was dealing with so many different things, so many with COVID, losing my livelihood, the one thing that I, feel like I'm on this earth to do, and, play music and stuff. So I feel like COVID ruined a lot, and it made me realize like just how, I guess, selfish I was being within that relationship, and, holding her back and all of that. And it's like, yeah, it's just one of those songs that just kind of cuts deep. And just makes you realize like, you had what you wanted at one point, and then you might just get so wrapped up in things that you don't think that you want that anymore, or you think that you'd be better off or that they'd be better off. But it's just yeah, I mean, it's definitely a song that means a lot to me, and it's really cool that we got to make a very personal and emotional song, of just like realizing like, what you had was a really good thing. And, unfortunately that's how life goes sometimes, right? You make a decision, you think it's the right one. Maybe it's not, maybe it is, maybe you haven't really gotten that answer yet, but yeah, that's basically what Holy's about.
You learned something.
Yep.
Hey.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
No, it's definitely, that's a very good song. I mean, the whole album's very good.
Yeah, why are you smiling there, Damon?
I know, Mr. Smiley.
Yeah, because I gotta think of something to say. I gotta think of something to say after that.
No, it's just yeah, it's just, let's just say that the I guess the person that I guess I was just talking about knows that song is kind of about them, courtesy of our smiley friend over there.
Oh yeah, that too.
No, but it's a deep song, and very, very proud of it. Very proud of how it turned out.
Let's see. If I had to pick a song, a non-single so far, man, honestly, I'd probably pick Omen, like the actual, like the title song, because kind of what Tyler was alluding to is like a lot of times people wouldn't put that as like the first thing that you're going to experience. But I think with this one, I like it because it kind of resembles, like, I don't know if you guys are movie people or not, but David Fincher. So he did like Fight Club and The Game, and there's some movies of his where it's like it starts off kind of backwards, where you're met with the finale. You know the story, you know the outcome, but now we're gonna show you how we got to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Omen, in a way, to me, like you said, with echoes, like leading out of the center EP and why it's not on here, is you're looking for something, you're searching through kind of like this mess, whatever it is, our world, the digital world, and maybe eventually you find something. But in this case, it's like Omen is a letter, or in some case like a journal, like memoirs of stories and things that happened to this person, or somebody, where they weren't able to actually make it through their struggles. They succumbed to it, they fell victim to it. That story is far more common that people don't like to talk about, where it's like there might not have been a light at the end of the tunnel for this person, or they couldn't see the good in themselves or in the things that they had. And the reason why we wanted to put that first is because it's going to read like a warning. It's one of those things where listen to the following, 12 songs. And in some cases, you're going to take away like, hey, this was my fate, but it doesn't have to be yours. It's like if you read a book from, Edgar Allan Poe or one of these great timeless artists that had such like a troubled life that they couldn't get out of their own way. Oftentimes they died young. They were in their 20s and their early 30s, but their work still lives on because it is that visceral. It's them wanting to be something that they know that they couldn't have been in their lifetime. So for me, that's kind of like the specialness of that one and wanting to lead with it, where it's like, we're going to set up kind of the ground wrap and basically say, hey, you know what? In my life, there's some things I'm not proud of. There are things that I've done, or, maybe I'm still trying to atone for in some ways. And it's like that whole, if I knew now what, back then, maybe things would have been different. But at the same time, we also wouldn't be having this conversation. So all I can give you are the stories, the experiences, and everything in between for you to take, to digest. And ultimately, it's up to you if you decide that some of this can be applicable in your life or not, and see where it goes from there. That's the cool thing about music or art or poetry or anything else, is you just put it out. And if it's meant to find the people it's going to find, it will.
That's heavy.
So yeah, that would be my unreleased one. But yeah, all of it's good. So listen to all of it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, man. You guys are definitely one of my favorite newer bands. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
No.
We're at 2 hours, man. Do you guys have anything that you want to plug or anything like that before we shut down?
Of course. Well, we already said it. Omen out via Rising Empire, September 29th. We got some really cool pre-orders and vinyl. If people collect that, we got European variants, US variants, super awesome stuff. Go grab one of those, check those out. Like I said, we're going to be on tour with Being as an Ocean and Senna. We fly over August 15th, come back September 18th. We have our home shows for Omen, the 6th and the 7th of October. Obviously, you can find us anywhere where the internet exists. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm sure I'm probably forgetting one somewhere in there. Twitter X, Twitter Z, whatever the fuck it's called now. And kind of last but not least, it is, thank you to you guys for having us again. Thank you to everybody that continues to support this band, support us as individuals, what we do. And we will do the best to reciprocate that, because it's all, symbiotic, man. We all work together to continue whatever this thing is that we're doing in life. So again, thank you to you guys,
Yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, I got one more pitch for you. Just because you guys love Germany so much and you spend a lot of time there, I want you guys to do a song in German. Just learn enough German to put out a song.
It's the world's most beautiful language.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, if Rammstein can make a song that's just literally 3 words, I think we can do the same thing too.
There you go. Yeah.
I like that. That's a can-do attitude. You guys think you'll ever get out to the West Coast anytime soon?
Yes.
Potentially soonish.
Okay, cool. Well, I hope to catch you guys live. Thank you again, both of you, for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah.
Boom. You guys are sick, man. Thanks,
Thanks, Damon.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, brother.